This was a very humbling defeat, and I think with Fred's injury, course correction may be in store. Let's get it. Welcome to the Cayman's Island podcast, where we talk all things San Francisco 49ers. I'm your host, David Cayman. And in today's show, we're going to recap the 30-19 defeat against Bake Show and the Buccaneers against the San Francisco 49ers. And we're going to dive into that shortly. But right off the top, I want to just wish Fred Warner a speedy recovery, man. I was absolutely devastated when I saw Fred go down. He's one of those Iron Men. The man's only missed one game in his illustrious Hall of Fame career. And you take that stuff for granted. You don't even, out of all the injuries, all the stuff that happens, it's like Fred is that staple that you know is going to be okay. And to see what happened to his ankle, to see him in that air cast and getting carted off the field, man, just for me personally, it definitely took the wind out of my sails, and I'm praying for a fast recovery for him so he can get back out there. I have no doubt that Fred will recover, return, and be completely the same guy. That's just who he is. But it's tough, and I believe that based on this injury, I think that might actually change the 49ers' plans substantially from what I think we could have possibly done. Now losing Fred and what you saw out on the field minus Fred, I think we might actually go in a different direction. And that's just how impactful Fred Warner's leadership is to San Francisco. He's the heart and soul of the team. And truthfully, it's not even close. It really is not. But let's dig into the game itself. Once again, the 49ers cannot run the football. We're 4-2, still number one in the division, 3-0 undefeated. We're not, this isn't, losing Fred Warner shouldn't be gloom and doom. But the reality is there's a lot more football to be played. And we are down not just, let's call it what it is, the best linebacker in football, probably top 2-3 defenders in the league. You might put this man in the top 10 of players across the board, period. There is no replacing Fred Warner at all. I don't care who you go out there. If you just had an open draft for who you could use to replace the importance of that man on our team, and that's, I don't care what you got, that's not walking through the door whatsoever. And you could tell from the moment he went down, the wind just completely came out of our sails. We need to start realizing, faithful, that we are a team that just cannot run the football. Our offensive line continues to struggle in protection. And I'm not putting this loss whatsoever on Mac Jones. I'm going to give Mac the same, I guess you could say, the same leeway I give to Brock when he's under the situations where he's just under constant duress. If you look at this particular game and you look at how much Mac Jones went out there and really battled, you could tell he was out there really on one leg. There was a couple of times where I saw where he was forced to scramble. You could literally see him grimace and try to slow up to not put so much strain on his body when running out of bounds. We continue to struggle back there in pass blocking. And I want to be very clear, like I said before, similar to the support that I give Brock, Mac really battled out there. I do not put the loss on him. I'm very concerned that based on what I saw and how we performed, once Fred went down, we might actually be looking, depending upon how the rest of this season goes, looking at a possible hard reset. Now, what I mean by hard reset is, I don't mean just a complete fire sale, let the whole team go. But the reality is, guys, even with Christian McCaffrey, we're barely running over 3 yards per carry. Trent Williams seems to have taken a step back for sure, and he's making all of that money. George hasn't even been out there. And we've been pretty productive with Kendrick Bourne and a backup quarterback. We have Ricky Pearsall that'll be coming back. Jawan Jennings, I know he got into some sort of verbal altercation with Kyle Shanahan on the sidelines. Look, man, it's football. Stuff gets heated out there. There were a couple of boneheaded plays that JJ made, and I'm sure Kyle, being the coach of the team, man, these are two veteran guys with a lot of emotion. You know how hard JJ plays out there, but for whatever reason, he had a couple of, for lack of better words, lapses of sanity out there, and it really did cost the team. And overall, we just did not make enough plays. You look at Mac Jones going 27 for 39 for 347 yards, 2 picks, 6 sacks. That first turnover, I know Mac put it on himself, but it clearly seemed Kendrick Bourne didn't run the route correctly. I don't know if that's been confirmed or not yet. It really did look like Mac was planning to throw to a spot that he thought his receiver was going to be at. That immediately, you might as well just say, gave 7 points to Tampa Bay right off the bat. We were able to move the ball successfully. Again, you get down there to the red zone, man, and we cannot punch it in. It's almost like as soon as we hit the 20, we might as well abandon the run because the very next run is like a 1-yard gain. We've got to figure this thing out. And I know that we've used CMC in a lot of, and basically an extension of the run game and some swing out passes and things like that. And that works. And he's getting 6-7 catches a game, 50 yards, again, rushing 17 times, 17 carries for 54 yards. Again, just 3.2 yards per carry. And at this point, why do we even have Brian Robinson on the team? That man did not even get a carry. Like, we traded draft capital for this man. And, the Commanders were able to use him situationally very successfully. So I don't get it. I'm puzzled. Dominic Pooney, at this point, guys, we're 6 games in. He's regressed. And I'm concerned. Connor Colby, I know he's out there doing the best that he can. I'll be excited when Ben Barch gets back out there and is healthy. Reports are that we're going to get George Kittle out there. That is going to be a big deal from a blocking perspective when we can get him out there. Ricky Pearsall, I know that there are reports that we might even get Brock Purdy back soon. I know that his mobility, if he's back and truly healthy, that will help out the offensive line as well. Kendrick Bourne had 5 receptions for 142 yards. So Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne definitely have some really good chemistry out there, and that's evident to see. But at the end of the day, the 49ers just did not make enough plays. Even the second pick that Mac Jones threw, it was on 4th down. Unfortunately, I felt that we had a receiver right there over the middle. I forget who that was right there over the middle, but Mac didn't even look his way. And it was essentially, I guess you could say, one of those punt picks, right? Even if it was incomplete, they would have got the ball back at the line of scrimmage, which would have put them in better field position. But aside from all that, and I think what's disheartening is even when Fred was in there, Tampa Bay was gashing us, man. There wasn't even any Bucky Irving out there. Emeka Egbuka, he got hurt, only had 2 catches. Tez Johnson is out there lighting us up. In fact, if your last name was Johnson, you were definitely eating against the 49ers defense. Our safety play, I don't know what was going on with that. We couldn't cover anything out there. We couldn't cover a nosebleed. It was rough. And the fact that we had Malik Mustafa back, I thought maybe this was the game we actually got a pick or 2 and force some pressure. Mykel Williams was able to get his first career sack. And I really feel like I'm seeing more and more from Mykel. I do see the improvement out there. Maybe it was just a bad game, but we were getting gashed before Fred went down. And once Fred went down, and it could be that emotional letdown too, man, when you see your field journal, the guy that's out there getting everybody in the right position. Tatum Bethune came in there and led the team in tackles. I think he had 10 total combined with assists and solos. So he came out there making tackles. I would have really liked to have heard D. Winter's name a bit more than I did yesterday. But it's concerning. Eddie Big Money De Niro is still out there. Pinero is still out there doing great, man, making all of his field goals, all of his extra points. I have to be honest. I think we only have one win right now, if not for Eddie Big Money De Niro Pinero out there making all of his field goal kicks. But I'm going to be honest. I would like to be in a world where we don't have to have a kicker making 4 or 5 kicks per game. We have to figure out a way to get touchdowns instead of field goals. And we also have to figure out a way of how to try to hold this team's defense together to at least be competent for our offense to get back healthy. Because if this is the product that we're going to put on the field defensively, the offense is going to have to score more than 19 points if we expect to beat any type of good teams. You take a look at what the Falcons did tonight against the Buffalo Bills. We have to play the Falcons. Bijan Robinson, if we don't come up with a good scheme and maybe some run blitzes or something, that man is going to create an all Madden tape on us coming up Sunday. I know they have one less day of rest and one less day of preparation than the 49ers, but man, what's that man going to do to our run defense? I don't even want to think about it right now, but let's talk about the implications of this whole Fred Warner situation. Now, John Lynch publicly said that we're looking around for a possible edge rusher to help out this team to get some more pressure, because even if there was a scenario, because we had plenty of opportunities in this game where if we would have made the plays, we could have snuck out a win in this game. Every time we got a break, we'd turn around and give it right back, or make some boneheaded penalty, or miss a block and Mac Jones got blown up. Just every time the Bucs would say, here's another opportunity. Here's a missed 49-yard field goal. We just could not execute and capitalize. Again, could just be a bad game. But now you look at this thing like, okay, if you're the front office, are you thinking, man, is this how this team is going to look without Fred Warner? Should I even go out there and spend priority future draft capital on getting an edge rusher when now that by far is not the only piece that we need help with? Can we go out there and get a Bradley Chubb? I don't even know at linebacker who would be available to. I have no idea who would be available to even fill one of Fred Warner's shoes, much less both of them. If I'm the front office now, do we call up Nick Martin and we roll with Tatum Bethune and D. Winters, and we call up Nick Martin and let him go through growing pains while we try and figure this thing out? Our schedule on paper, especially at the beginning of the season, was pretty favorable. But now you look at that the Falcons coming on, getting more confident week to week. You have the Colts coming up. I think Seattle's for real. I know that we beat them. It was a tough game week 1. And week 1 games in the division they're always like that. Very similar to how back and forth and nail-biting the game was against the Rams. But I really feel like Seattle's the real deal. And I think they're going to continue to improve. Their secondary is going to continue to get healthy. I think it's going to be really tough sledding with this Fred Warner injury. And I do feel like if I'm that front office, do I give it another game? If we mess around and lose to the Falcons, and listen, they're no slouch. It's the NFL. It's any given Sunday out there. And you saw what they just did. Super upset against the Bills. If we mess around and lose that game, and that's the game where you say, okay, if the 49ers win that game and we go 5-2, okay, we'll go out there. We'll try and trade for an upgrade at the edge rushing position, and maybe we can do something to get some depth at linebacker. But I got to be honest, guys, if I'm that front office and I'm looking around and I saw how the team performed, it does raise some eyebrows. It does raise some question marks whether or not should we just roll with what we have, play the best we can. For me, this loss was humbling. I think seeing the way we lost and losing Fred was like a reality check. We sit here and we're like, okay, if we can just get the team back healthy enough and we can get all of the offense back out there, and I know it's just Nick Bosa, but maybe we can go and get this piece and that piece. Guys, the reality is we can't run the football. We can't run the football. We can't stop the run. Come playoff time, what that equals, even if we win enough games, we win out the division, we win the division, we host a home playoff game. The reality is, guys, we're probably one and done anyway. We're not going to beat a good team averaging 3 yards per carry and giving up the yards, getting gashed in the run game like we got gashed against Tampa Bay. Now, I trust in Robert Saleh. I do think he's going to figure this thing out. He's going to be able to determine who that new field general is so we can start getting some guys better lined up on defense. We got to figure this safety thing out this week in practice. Again, wins heal all wounds. Okay, so if we get out here and we beat the Falcons, just beat the Bills. If we can win against the Falcons, we're 5-2. Maybe that puts some optimism and hope. Maybe John Lynch can work some magic and get some edge rushing help and pull a miracle off at linebacker and get some more help out there. Maybe even get some type of offensive line help. I'm not sure. That's probably just wishful thinking. But tell me what you guys think in the comments, man. Am I overreacting to just one loss? I feel that I'm not, just due to the fact that we don't have a top 10 player in football. Fred Warner's not walking through that door, and no trade is going to fill that gap. So I think this is going to be a very tough one to overcome. I'm hoping that the morale can still stay high, and it's always the next man up mentality. As always, guys, if you like what you saw today, if you enjoyed the show, please remember to like and subscribe. It definitely does help the channel. As always, guys, take care and be blessed.